Hey everyone, this is Curb, and I am bringing you another standard match today. This time from our locals. So it looks like we have Baro versus Ava. So the Ava player is actually Bryant Nguyen, who is a pretty prolific player from our area. He is going to be going to Worlds this year, and he has been to Worlds quite a few times. So getting into the match, looks like Brian's just going to be riding into that grade 1, searching out the grade 1 order, passing it over to Barrow. We're just going to be riding into the Curious Pony, swinging and passing, which is going to be no pass. So we do hit a front trigger there, but it doesn't really matter because it's not going to hit anyway. So going back to Bryant, looks like he is just going to be discarding for that ride deck, riding into the grade 2, and searching out this time the grade 2 order. So apologies, there are going to be quite a few proxies in this match. We're going to see one right here. That reverse card is supposed to be another one of the grade 1 orders. And looks like we're just going to be swinging, actually hitting a draw trigger, which is yet another proxy. As you could probably see, it is the Stoicheia draw trigger and not the Bronc Gate one. So moving back to Barrow, looks like we're just going to be riding into the Spartan and swinging and passing. Actually going to be getting a critical trigger here, and we're going to see 2 triggers damage checked, a Stoicheia critical trigger and a Dark State effect trigger. So back to Bryant, we're going to be discarding that Tech Tan for ride deck, checking top 5, just fetching out an order. Looks like he actually managed to get 2 hits off it, so he's just deciding which one he wants. And it looks like we're going to be going with another copy of that grade 2 order. So we do already know he does have the 2 grade 2 orders in hand, and he does have the 2 grade 1 orders already set up from the last 2 turns. So going into this first grade 3 turn, we're doing pretty well because we will be able to set up that 3 set order requirement that you need for cards like Obstigate, as well as using Ava's skill. So we're just going to be activating that grade 2 order, drawing the card, and pitching yet another Tech Tan, which is going to let us check top 5 yet again, search out for another order, hitting again, actually getting a 3rd copy of the grade 2 experiment order to hand. And it looks like we're going to be using that Ava skill to check top 3 because we do have the 3 set order cards in the order zone. And choosing 1 card to add to our hand. Apologies for the glare. He did just call out a Combine Rusher here, and looks like he will be moving into battle and swing with the Combine. It's going to get blocked by 15k shield. Going to be swinging the Ava, using the skill to counterblast 1, soul blast 1, get 5k, and call out the Obstigate. So it's going to be blocked by a front trigger. The front trigger we saw back in turn 1, which is 30k, meaning that Ava is going to need to hit 2 triggers in order to actually hit. So we're going to flip over those drive checks. First, nothing, and second, nothing, although it is a PG. So we're going to be swinging with that Obfuscate, who is now at 23 and does have the critical since he was called by the card effect. Looks like Barrow's just going to be eating it, going to 3, which is not bad because you do need quite a bit of CB in order to set up that 15 soul that you need in order to use Barrow's skill. So riding into the Barrow, looks like we're going to be just putting a card in soul, sliding another card with soul charge, and drawing that card. So I did put up a quick little soul charge count here. So it looks like we are at 6. He's going to be calling a Psychic Swirler, soul charging, and calling that Guggenram is actually going to be another copy of Psychic Swirler. We were just proxying. And then we're going to see the actual new order for Baromagnes from set 7, which is a slightly worse or better depending on your interpretation of Pandemonium Tactics. It's a CB1, Soul Charge 3, and then your Vanguard gets the skill that all your front row units will be getting 5k. So next up, we're going to be seeing that Curtis come on down for another Soul Charge 2. Given the fact that we started at 5 soul, we are already at 12, so we are just missing 3 more soul in order to get to that 15. And all the while, those 2 Psychic Swirlers are just getting pumped up bigger and bigger. I think at this point they have 6 and 7 soul charges already underneath their belt. So it looks like we're going to be using the Curious Pony from Ride Deck to soul charge 2, more, getting up to 13, so we are just short 2 souls. So we're going to be calling out a critical trigger as well as the selfish engraver, just trying to meet that 15 soul requirement during the battle phase. It is a little bit risky, but you do have guaranteed with that psychic swirler and the engraver. Engraver is actually going to be hitting because it is being boosted by an obscenely large number, heading into the soul. Soul charging on hit, heading into soul to counter charge, and then we're going to be swinging with the other psychic swirler boosted by the trigger, which is going to go into soul and give Barrow another 2k. Not that it really matters. Honestly, you're just doing it for the extra soul. And then we are going to be using that Baromagnes skill, sliding both the Combine Rusher and the Obfuscate back into the soul, and calling out 2 cards for Barrow. So these numbers are getting pretty high with that grade 2 from set 4 that I'm not going to say the name of because I don't want to. Using its skill to soul charge, adding back a PG, and that card on the right side is actually a new card from set 7. It is a 2k base, but it does get plus 2k for every card in the soul, which at this moment you can see is 17, which means it's going to be getting a 36 extra power just from its skill alone, and that's not counting the extra 10k from Baromagnes, the extra 5k from the grade 2 guy, as well as the extra 5k that he's getting from the order card that he played earlier in the turn. So that last damage check that he took from the Psychic Swirler, Bryant did actually get a defensive trigger, so it looks like he is going to be at 23 for this attack. The Barrow is swinging for a total of 33. So it looks like we're going to be guarding with 2 triggers, which is going to be 53, which is a 2 to pass, but we're going to be flipping over the drive checks, see another PG, and a nothing. So we're going to be swinging with that grade 2, which I'm not saying the name of, and it is going to be getting an extra 20k in total, which means this attack is swinging for 30k. And it looks like we are just going to be taking it, checking another PG, and we're going to be swinging with the new grade 2 from set 7, and it's just going to be blocked by the OT. So moving back to Bryant, we are going to be starting off the turn with a Persona Ride. We have 6 cards in Soul, which is a lot more than you're probably used to when playing Ava, but we are going to be calling out that second doll, putting the Obfuscate that we discarded for the right deck earlier, and actually using the second doll's second skill, which is, since you put a grade 3, you can Soul Blast 3 in order to draw 1 card. Usually you wouldn't use that because that is a lot of soul, and you do actually need soul for Ava, but given the matchup, you have so much extra soul, not to mention the fact that you actually do want Obfuscate and Combine Rusher to be in the drop zone, so going for that play just makes a whole bunch of sense. So activating that order, the grade 2 order, discarding 1, pitching 1, and then using the Soul Blast in order to bind the grade 2. Looks like we are going to be using Combine Rusher's skill as well, because we did play in order to counterblast 1 and call it out. And now that the opponent is at grade 3, we are going to be able to be getting that extra 10k from Combine Rusher. So moving on, just going to use that Ava skill, checking top 4 this time, choosing 1 card and just adding it to hand. Now we're going to be using that grade 1 order to put itself into soul, counter charge, and add back out that Obfuscate that we did Soul Blast earlier. And we're going to be calling out the Obfuscate, the one we added just back to hand. So it does not have the crit yet because it wasn't called by a card effect, but it is still swinging for that 33 under the Persona Ride. So we're going to be starting off unboosted. The Combine Rusher is going to be hitting for 30 of its own, just because of the Persona Ride, and its own skill gives it another 10k. Looks like we're just going to be taking that Combine Rusher, no trigger, going to 4, swinging with the Ava, using the skill counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, call out the Obfuscate, and it is going to be getting a crit because it was called by a card effect. So looks like we're just gonna PG that Vanguard swing. We are in a pretty dangerous situation here. We do have the obfuscate, which is a pretty big number, and it is going to be swinging for lethal. And it looks like we're going to be hitting double trigger, a critical and a heal, meaning that both of these attacks are actually going to be swinging for lethal because they are both 2 damage, and they are both pumped up by a trigger, meaning they are, I believe, both 53 and 51 respectively. But looks like we're just going to be taking that first attack, hoping for a heal, but it is not going to be there. So that is going to be the match. If you enjoyed, go ahead and like, subscribe, do all those YouTube things, and I will see you guys in the next one.